All right, now we're in Job chapter 3. If you're thinking of the book of Job from a literary standpoint, chapters 3 through 41 is where the poetry happens. This is the main body of the work of the book of Job. We've just finished the epilogue, which is chapters 1 and 2, that set the stage of what's going on. Now we're going to start to get more of Job's philosophy and ideas, basically. And then after, in chapters 42, is the prologue, basically, of pull of everything together. I think I just changed those actually. Epilogue is usually at the end. Sorry. So, anyways, we're now getting into the bulk of the story. So this is where we're starting to get more of the. If you'll notice, as this is read, it feels different. It feels in English it'll feel a little strange, because this is Hebrew poetry. So it rhymed and made more sense in Hebrew. We see this oftentimes with the book of Isaiah and Psalms and Proverbs as well. It was poetry in a different language, but when it got translated to English, it doesn't sound as poetic as we think. So think about some of the analogies and the visualizations and what the message is, and you can start to understand some of the poetry behind it. So, verse 1, after this opened Job his mouth and cursed his day. And Job spake and said, Let the day perish wherein I was born, and the night in which it was said, There is a man child conceived. Let that day be darkness. Let not God regard it from above, neither let the light shine upon it. So this is Job speaking about his birth. And this is kind of the dark night of Job's life at this point. He's had all these, almost everything is taken from him. He still has his wife and he has his life, but he has all these boils all over his body. He's trying to heal from a sickness. He's really sick. All of his family's dead. His animals have been stolen or killed. His servants have all been killed. I mean, just in one day, everything has exploded. If you're not familiar with that, go read chapter 1. Go back to that video. So he is not blaming, but he's like, why, we should curse Job, his birth, because he's going to be a cursed man eventually. So that was a bad day for Job. Whoever was born as Job, that was a bad day, because you're going to get prosperous and then you're going to have it all taken away from you. Verse 5, Let darkness and the shadow of death stain it. Let a cloud dwell upon it. Let the blackness of the day terrify it. As for that night, let darkness seize upon it. Let it not be joined unto the days of the year. Let it not come into the number of the months. Lo, let that night be solitary. Let no joyful voice come therein. Let them curse it that curse the day, who are ready to raise up their mourning. Let the stars of the twilight thereof be dark. Let it look for light, but have none. Neither let it see the dawning of the day. Because it shut not up the doors of my mother's womb, nor hid the sorrow from mine eyes. Why died I not from the womb? Why did I not give up the ghost when I came out of the belly? So kind of why didn't I die back then? If I'd have died back then, it'd have been easier than dying now, than having to suffer what I've suffered. Excuse me, verse 12, why did the knees prevent me? Or why the breasts that I should suck? So why did he have strength? Why was he allowed to be born and to be nourished and taken care of? Verse 13, for now should I have lain still and been quiet. I should have slept, then had I been at rest. With kings and counselors of the earth, which built desolate places for themselves, or with princes that had gold, who filled their houses with silver, or as an hidden untimely birth I had not been, as infants which never saw light. There the wicked cease from troubling, and there the weary be at rest. There the prisoners rest together, they hear not the voice of the oppressor. The small and great are there, and the servant is free from his master. What is it he's talking about? Death. The servant is free when he dies. The prisoners rest together and hear not the oppressor's voice. Why? Because they're dead. The wicked cease from troubling, and the weary be at rest, because they're dead. He's even talking about infants which never saw the light, or a stillborn birth, basically. Talking about how death would be better than what he is facing right now. Why did he not die at the beginning of his life and said, I have to live through it and experience these things. And you know, it's interesting because um, I think sometimes we think the same way in our own lives. You know, why am I having to experience the challenges and problems of my life? Why am I having to go through this? If I'd have just died at an early age, I wouldn't have to deal with all this. I could be at rest. This is something that I think everybody wrestles with at some point in their life, is thinking through this idea of your own mortality and why are bad things happening to me. Verse 20, wherefore is light given to him that is in misery, and life unto the bitter in soul, which long for death, but it cometh not, and dig for it more than for hid treasures, which rejoice exceedingly, and are glad when they can find the grave. So what he's saying here is that there is light given to people. We want to die. We want death more than we want treasures. We want to get out of this life. We want to end the test of this life. But yet light is given. Hope is given. Verse 23, why is light given to a man whose way is hid, and whom God hath hedged in? Very important question for us to ask. Why is light given to man whose way is hid? Why is it that my life feels absolutely horrible and terrible? Why is it that it feels like my life is walking through mud? I can't get where I want to get to. I can't have what I want to have. My life is a constant struggle and challenge. Why am I given hope? Why does God give me light? Such a great thing to think about. Such a great thing. Verse 24, for my sighing cometh before I eat, and my roarings are poured out like the waters. Meaning he's in pain. He is truly suffering. Verse 25, for the thing which I greatly feared is come upon me, and that which I was afraid of is come unto me. Imagine your main fears, the things you fear the most, coming to fruition. Verse 26, I was not in safety, neither had I rest, neither was I quiet, yet trouble came. So, powerful philosophy to think about. Why is it when life seems dire and terrible, light is given? Why does God give us hope when things are so terrible around us? Love to hear your thoughts in the comments of that, and I'm sure we're going to get more in chapter 4. So let's jump over there as well to continue to understand Job's thinking. But it's so important for us to to think of these questions. Again, I think we all struggle with these, with challenges in our life. Whether it is we are in a war zone, like in Ukraine, or in other places, whether we are born into places that have lots of violence, like in Chicago or other places, or we are born into poor countries, or we're born into oppressive nations, or families, parents that oppress us and hurt us and have problems, or we are beaten or abused by other people, or picked on and harassed by other people. God still holds out hope. There is still a light that he gives to us, and this is what Job is talking about. Why am I not dead? Why hasn't God taken my life? Why? I want to die. I want to end this pain and suffering. But yet, in me there still is a hope. God still gives me a hope inside. What is that? What is that hope that he gives? Let's jump over to chapter 4 and we'll learn more.